Greetings and welcome back to Switch to Linux. We have another supporter stream, a panel discussion with a bunch of folks on here right now, and let me actually unmute them so they can talk. Greetings. We have Ben, we have Dan, we have Quint, we have Rick, we have Toss, and we have me, and we have a kitty, but he doesn't talk much. But anyway, so greetings everybody, and today our discussion is when to give up our data, because, you know, data is a thing, and, whoa, I gotta accidentally didn't have myself muted. So, of course, I talk a lot about data collection, but are there instances and times when it is appropriate to give up data? And that's kind of what we want to talk about because, you know, I bash on giving up data way too much, and maybe there's times we maybe need to give up some data. So, that's what we're going to be talking about today, and let's go ahead before we do much more. Anyone want to say hi before we jump into the comments?
Good evening.
Hello, everyone.
Hey there.
Hi.
Hi.
All right, so Benjamin Eldridge is first. Still getting started on the streaming. No problem there, Ben. Yeah, Benjamin Eldridge is trying to getting started on streaming here. So we'll see if he can get another one going for us sometime soon. Quint's on. Hello, y'all. Hello, y'all. Q1 Fiend. Greetings. I think everyone... Oh, Mark, you're the only one in the comments so far that's actually not on the call. Right? Okay. Let's see. Typically, no, the police abuse the legislation anyway. I must be missing comments. Okay, I need to switch myself over to live chat. I must be missing some comments. I don't know. Jesse Crypto, greetings. Let's see. Yeah, Jesse, I have this stream, and then I have a 9 o'clock stream because, believe it or not, guys, Marvel Comics is introducing in March. It's going to be released a comic strip featuring Jesus as a superhero. That's what we're talking about on the Walking Christ Tonight live stream. So after that live stream, Jesse, yes, I'm available. This is not the top search result for Kitty Cam. What? Linux user, greetings, Louis. How are you? Techno-Bismal, how's it going there? Let's see. Hello, Keegan and Steven. How's it going there?
Techno-Bismal.
Hey, Techno-Bismal, man. On this channel, he's called Techno-Bismal. On the other channel, he's called, I call him Tech Baptismo. Okay. All right. Got it. KO2610, greetings. Sleepy, how's it going there, Sleepy? If you can jump on, you should have the link. Bear with me a few minutes. I'll join. Okay, let's see. Turning in. I am tuning into the live 9 o'clock live stream. Then, yeah. So 9 o'clock Eastern, I will be doing a live stream tonight as well. All right, guys. So initially, we're gonna go ahead and jump in. I'm gonna leave a mark where my comments are there so that I can get back to them later. What do you guys have initial thoughts about giving up your data? First, actually, yeah, just give me your initial thoughts there, and then we'll kind of develop it more as we go.
They can't have any of it. I'm not giving.
Not given. All right.
Pay me a commission. You know, we'll do a compromise, and then we'll talk about it. Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else? Quint, what's your thought?
Really, you just need to give it up as soon as possible.
Just
delete everything that you have.
Yeah. Okay.
I remember. I think it wasn't too long ago. I went through my password thing from when I still use Chrome on my Google, not this one, but a different one, and it was unbelievable how many passwords I had in there. But I just deleted them all because they're now in Firefox.
Yeah, there was an issue, I guess, if you had your passwords in Chrome, they could be extracted. Rick, what's your initial thoughts on data collection stuff?
Well, I think I already gave it all. I have to figure out how to get it back. I made a first step. I'm using KeyPass exclusively, but I use Chrome, and I have the Chrome auto login to the website, so I'm not sure if they got my passwords or not.
They have about everything, which is the unfortunate. So I guess the best thing is just make sure that's turned off. And I mean, use Chrome if you have to, but.
Well, I turn everything off. If I turn everything off, how do I log into anything
Well, the browser does not have to be logged in to log into things. You're like Firefox, I know, and I'm sure Chrome can do it as well, log in without being logged into the browser itself. Logging into the browser itself is the most dangerous because it basically, if you go back and look at the concept of cookies and super cookies and zombie cookies and all these things, the reason Flash hung on as long as it could is because it had 100 times bigger cache storage size for cookies than did the browser itself. And so with Chrome being logged in, or Chromium for that matter being logged in, all of that stuff stores on Google servers, which is like an infinite space. So they can store as many and as much cookie as they want. And that's what the biggest problem is with storing the browser.
I'm actually on Chromium.
Yeah. Okay, so you're on Chromium. Yeah. Okay.
Are we talking about passwords that are stored in your browser? Or
not yet. Well, I think Rick is looking at that a little bit as well. Because I know you don't have to be logged into the browser to store the password on the system, depending on the system.
Are you talking about passwords that you ask the browser to store for you, or ones that you are actually using to log into a website?
I think that's what... Go ahead, Rick.
I'm letting Chromium log in for me.
To a website.
It says remember passwords in Chromium.
Oh,
okay. That's a different case than what I was talking about. I'm sorry. Yeah, so what I was talking about...
Passwords, I got good long passwords. But, well, I've used Firefox in the past, but they went stupid a few years ago, and I dumped them, and then they got better, and then they did some dumb stuff again, and I dumped them again. So that's why I'm on Chromium. But should I pop back into a Firefox then?
I don't know. I'm not. I think they're all kind of going crazy, honestly. I think Firefox is more privacy focused than Chromium is, but I'm not sure. I'm not going to jump in and say they're infinitely better. I think it's a matter of the biggest thing if you're on Chromium is make sure that the browser itself is not logged into your Google account. That's what the big concern is.
I have a completely different way of handling that.
How's that?
Well, what I do is instead of having the browser store all my passwords, is I have a text file buried deep in my system where the passwords for websites only, nothing for banking or anything like that, are stored, and then I just copy and paste that stuff in when I need to log into something rather than having the browser do it.
Okay, yeah, and that's a good search.
I use Bitwarden, which is an open source password manager.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I really like it.
Yeah, I've used KeePassX. We had a contract once where we had to have password managers. I'm like, all right, so I use KeePassX because everything's encrypted there.
I used to use LastPass, but LastPass has been hacked before.
Oh, yeah. And it's cloud-based.
I just don't trust anything I can't see under the hood of.
Yeah.
I think Bitwarden is still cloud-based, but it's all open source.
Yeah, I wouldn't put any password stuff on the cloud. That's asking for danger. Vince, you jumped on. What's your thoughts on giving up data, not giving up data?
Do you mean giving up data, like as in when you sign into websites and?
We're actually. I mean, that's kind of where we got into, but really, I want to take it on using your personal data and people collecting your personal data.
Oh well, I've had personal experience with some issues. I've actually had my identity stolen, and I've had friends who've had their identity stolen. And I remember when I reported it to the police, they told me that this is such a common occurrence that they really warn anyone who they come across that they should really be careful how much data they put online. So whenever you're signing up to things like, I don't know, like store reward cards or things like that, any unessential information that they do not need, do not put it, especially things like your date of birth. Use some sort of another email account that's not tied into all your primary stuff. Even things like addresses. A lot of things don't really need your address.
Yeah, and these are all common sense things. When the internet was first around, all of us knew, and all of us did. We weren't going to give all this stuff up to the internet. Like, what is this? But social media changed all that. Now we just give everything without thinking about it. So. Kind of leads me to the first article. This is an old classic favorite article of mine. How much of your data would you trade for a free cookie? So this goes back.
Cookie?
Yeah, this goes back to a article I've talked about many times before. This was from, I think this was reported from ProPublica. It was a campus group in New York that they kind of wanted to determine how wise people were with their data. And so they literally printed up all these cookies with all the social media things. So like the Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, social media cookies. And little sugar cookies, you know, frosted sugar cookies decorated as these social media icons. So if you're seeing the stream, you'll actually see the icon here. And what they found is that 380 New Yorkers gave up personal sensitive information from fingerprints to partial social security numbers for a cookie.
That's nuts.
Did you say New Yorkers?
New Yorkers, man. What do you think of this, Todd?
That's fake news right there, New York.
Fake news? All right.
I think New Yorkers would be more careful, wouldn't that?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, you'd think. Well, I mean, you have to understand, this is college students, so many of them probably weren't cityites.
You ask a New Yorker for data, you're going to get slapped around.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got your data right here.
Yeah, just under half, or 162, gave away numbers they said were the last 4 digits of social security numbers, and about 1/3, 117, allowed her to take their fingerprints. Another person was able to verify with people's driver's licenses to verify the information provided. So, this is, I wonder how this would fly if it were done today. This article is from 2014, so this is 4 or 5 years ago now. So I wonder how this would fly today with all of this, if people are getting wiser or not. So, are we getting wiser or are we not? What do you guys think? If
we need to examine the cookie jars.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
The thing is, if you really want that cookie that bad, just go to a bakery and buy a sugar cookie, and it'll cost you maybe like $3.
Yeah, actually, I stopped by Panera today. I split a cinnamon roll with a friend today. I think we paid $3 for the cinnamon roll. I think the cookies range from 99 cents to $1.99. Panera bread.
But
and
still, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So that gives way to this article that was emailed to me today, or yesterday, I think yesterday. So this is an interesting article, co-published from MSNBC and Yahoo. You may soon be able to use your cell phone bill to boost your credit score. So this is Experian, not Equifax, which is good. But apparently, according to Experian, they are creating an opt-in service where you can go and you can give all of this information to Experian in exchange for them using this stuff to build in a part of your credit score. So what do you guys think of that? Yes,
Sounds
no,
like
good,
a
bad?
nightmare.
I am totally against the credit score agencies, the Equifax and all that. That needs to all be scrubbed, trashed, and not be seen again.
Burnt with fire, yes.
When I wanted my first loan, I had to go to a bank. Plus, I had to take a letter from my employer that certified that I worked there, plus 3 references.
Yeah.
And that's what it took for me to get my first loan.
Yeah. Ben, thoughts?
I don't think I opted in to them collecting the data they have on me for the credit score I already have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm not sure I'd opt in to have my cell phone bill thrown in there either.
Fortunately, this is opt-in for now.
Well, suppose you shut down your contract because you no longer want to use your carrier anymore. That immediately impacts your credit score negatively.
Well, so does paying off a loan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there are 5 components to a credit score, and every one of them is how much money you borrow from the bank.
Actually, my credit score increased when I paid off my last loan on my truck because I had more available money to go buy something of a larger dollar amount to get a loan for.
Yeah. Usually it's revolving. If you close a revolving credit account like a credit card or a HELOC, then that will generally negatively impact the score. But paying off a loan means that, hey, now you're in the purpose to go get another one.
Yeah.
Just
Mine actually did the reverse, Dad. I paid off my my car loan and my credit score took a small hit.
It's possible. I mean, depending on.
I think they just roll the
generation.
dice, and that's what you get.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Quint, do you have any thoughts on this?
Not really, since I don't have a credit card. I don't know.
or a credit score being your age. Toss, what do you
I have
think?
a bank account and a debit card, but that's it.
Yeah. Well, my credit score increased after I called Uncle Guido, so I don't have a problem. No.
Yeah.
But
My credit score disappeared after Guido
yeah,
got
no
involved.
problem. No,
But,
but I'm not sure how that whole credit thing works. I remember years ago when I lived in Florida, I got a loan to buy a car at a Ford dealership. Actually, I was pre-approved through my car insurance company. They had a rate of 7.25, and the salesman says, "Hey, that's a great rate." So we agreed on the price of the car. He comes back, "Hey, we got you a better rate for a loan." Now, I didn't give him permission to run my credit. I guess they automatically run it.
Mm-hmm.
He says, "But we can get you 7, like instead of 7.25, whatever." I'm like, "Okay, fine." So I figured he says he says something like, "Yeah, you're on the top tier," or this. And then I forget what the score was.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, getting back to this data thing real quick, I posted a story last night where bounty hunters can now buy your data or track you on your cell phone for a fee without your permission.
Well, that's actually an update to a story. I covered that first. I covered that first almost a year ago when I was doing the Facebook study, because I saw that initially. I'm like, oh, I wonder if that works. Since I already had this complete burner phone not connected to me at all, I went onto the site and I tried it, and indeed it worked. It would pin down my house within, I think maybe 500 yards, half a mile or so, pin down exactly where the phone was. But, well, that was actually what ended up happening is that was a big story that caused a lot of privacy. And then the FCC or whatever came down and said, this is a big deal. And so they all the carriers said they weren't going to do it. And it turns out that story is an update saying that AT&T, Sprint, and T-Mobile, you can still do that. But I didn't see any conversation one way or the other about Verizon. So either they're all still doing it, and it was a show for Verizon to get people over to them, or maybe the people just didn't check a Verizon device.
I guess they can do it, bounty hunters, without any kind of a search warrant, because the authorities can with the search warrant, and that's fine if there's some kind of a problem. But they can just do it for a fee of like $300. I'm like, uh-oh,
Yeah, that was interesting. Vince, what's your thoughts?
What's wrong with the current credit score? Like, I mean, how big does your phone contract have to be for you to, and how bad does your credit score have to be for you to not be able to get that contract?
Here is where I think this is coming from, and that is that the upcoming generation is actually infinitely wiser than their parents when it comes to money. They're looking at this giant mess, and they're like, I'm not sure I want to go to school. It costs too much. I don't know if I want to get a credit card. That just seems stupid. I don't want to borrow a bunch of money. That's just kind of crazy. Like, Quint, do you have any interest in borrowing a lot of money or not? I don't know.
Not really.
Yeah. So,
I never really had an interest in a credit card because you could just use the debit card as a credit card.
Yeah. And so I think what they're trying to get at is there are a number of people who don't want to go out and get a credit card, don't want to go out and get an auto loan, and how do you build them up a credit score? Now, for me, I don't really care about a credit score, but for those that want a credit score, or in my town, if you don't have a credit score, you're not going to rent unless it's from grandma's basement, because I'm in a big college town and everyone's being paid by the student federal loan government dollars. And so you either got money or you get to go home. And I don't know.
I'm with Dan. Interested in it.
I'm with Dan. Like, shouldn't your credit score be based purely on your income and how much savings you have? And that can be determined by your pay slips.
They are using fake math.
Oh, yeah.
It should be based if you use Linux or not. Then it should go way high, in my opinion.
Correct.
Yeah. Yes.
If you're using Linux, and this is the funny thing. It's like guys like Dave Ramsey talk about this a lot. You know, he doesn't have a credit score at all because he doesn't borrow money at all. But he could come into this town and buy up any 5 apartment complexes he wanted. You know, it's like, you know, the credit score doesn't mean much, you know. And so, yeah, I am a little turry about this. There's places this could have an application, but I'm not sure I want to add anything extra to these data collectors that I don't think this is a good thing. I don't think it's a good thing when these companies are all selling their service. You guys seen those stupid commercials? I forget if they're Equihacks or Experian or whatever. The guy's like, I know what my credit score is. So he goes in, I want that plant too. You know, it's like, what is this nonsense? But that's kind of what I was thinking of. So on the two extremes, of course, there's some people giving zero data and some people doing things like that. So that's kind of where I wanted to go and just kind of use that as a jumping point to talk about things. Of course, the credit score is a double-edged sword. What instances do you guys not care if you give up data about?
Well, they got these new intelligent toilets coming out, so if they're tracking me there, they're more than welcome to.
That's some pretty crappy.
That's all I want to. Yeah, they can have that telemetry for that.
Except Toss, they're gonna know everything that you ate. They're gonna know your regularity. You're gonna, I mean, they know a lot about you.
Yeah, right. And then I'll get stuff in the mail. Hey, try these new Wheaties or something. You know,
they'll know what restaurants you visit.
Yeah, that's true. So,
Yeah.
see, look, that just proves you can't win. Just when you think you got them, they got you, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I don't really care about like the doctor putting my information in the computer, unlike you.
I do.
I don't care if the doctor puts it on a piece of paper for his future reference in the office, but I do care if it goes up on the internet.
Now when I go in the doctor's office, they did this like 2 years ago. They give you a tablet now, and the information they want you to put into the tablet is prying. It's digging. They want everything: your phone number, your social security number. They want your address. They want your phone number. They want your last bowel movement. They want everything in this tablet.
Yeah,
And then you got to turn it back in before you can get, go see the doctor.
I would expect
there
there's some
is
very
a
strict regulations for
website.
health data.
I'm not sure I'll be able to find it again, but
The point is this data can be hacked and easily circulated around, if a breach ever occurred. And we know they occur all the time.
Yeah, I was trying to find the link, but there is actually a website which has literally, it just tracks the medical hacks. And it's just like, it's shocking how many medical hacks there actually are.
I'm not all that sensitive. I know you really don't like to have to install an app for something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not as sensitive about that. I'll do it if I have to, but if I don't have to, I don't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like for example, the setup. The things I don't like is when you have to set up a Wi-Fi router using an app.
That to me is crazy. Give me one I can plug in.
One of the things.
Configure.
One of the things is I live in a very large house, and so we're gonna put in some Ubiquiti access points upstairs, so we can actually access. So we have better Wi-Fi up there, and there's a lot of functions. Like you can even add new access points and stuff using an app. Like this guy who was reviewing them was talking about, you can just add new access points on your phone. It's so easy.
Yeah, I looked at the Samsung ones. It's the only ones I could buy locally, but they all required an app. So I'm like,
and the other thing is the Ubiquiti devices are enterprise, which I think is the weirdest thing. And they would be advertising that they have an app. There is a web interface too, which works just as well, but they're advertising that they have an app and it's an enterprise product. It doesn't make any sense.
Maybe that's because the CEO is the only one that's supposed to have the app for the thing you're talking about.
Yeah. So for me, I mean, I'll give address and basic things like that for to get on some pastors' mailing list. So I get a lot of books and sermons and stuff. In fact, I got a couple books and stuff back here that I need to get reading or whatever else.
That's kind of old school stuff, even without computers. We used to give out our address and our name to get catalogs and all kinds of stuff in the mail.
Yeah.
So we could communicate and get things done with the rest of the world before we even had these computers.
Yeah, and we have the last part we're gonna talk about is gonna be horror stories on data collection. So you can share your fun one again, Dan, on the Google and the phone, but to be thinking of those. But I was trying to think of other places where I didn't mind. The downside that I think is that sometimes we'll just be like, hey, I would like to ask a question. And so, boom. And they'll grab the information, they'll automatically add to some mailing lists and then sell it to us. It's like, dude, I just asked a question. I didn't ask to be put on your stupid mailing list, you know? And so...
Wasn't there another thing where it was that UPS video about how they didn't deliver, like how they tried to deliver it to some random person, and when you called them, they wanted you to create a My UPS account, right?
Oh Lord, yeah. So if you're not familiar with the story, when you were I think that was when I did the Create Space. So when you write a book, you have the books published in multiple different places. And my Ingram Spark ones, which is the major international book distributor, those just came right to me. Well, I had the Create Space shipped to my post office box because they're supposed to have the thing that's like shipped, you know, UPS to post office box. Well, there was an issue with that wasn't working for whatever reason. And so I ordered the preview copy of the book, and it should be there in like 2 or 3 days. So I get the original notification it shipped, and I don't find any information. And nothing's showing up. So I go to the post office. They don't know what's going on. I finally call UPS with the tracking number they gave me, and they tried to deliver it to some other address. It's like instead of the post office box, like, well, oh, we're not delivering this to the post office box. We're going to ship it to an address anyway. Well, who's the address? Well, they just type some stuff in. Oh, let's ship it to this address. What? I don't live there. And
wasn't another guy who had your same name? Is that what it was?
Yeah, and I've gotten that before, like long time ago when I got my first cell phone. There is another Thomas Borowski out there who I think I might be somewhere related to. I actually got his entire cell phone bill once, which had all of his account details. It had his name, his address, his social security number. It had everything. It was quite impressive.
You know, the funny thing is is my mom. There's a costume designer in California with my mom. That's the same name as my mom.
Hold on. Hold on. This sounds like a horror story. So hold on to that one, Quint.
Yeah.
Just hold on to that
horror story.
Yeah. We'll get to horror stories in a bit. Anyone else have anything that you want to share where you opt in and say, hey, I don't mind receiving information from you?
Basic address and name I will do. As far as that, I start getting really weird about it. And you've seen me change quite a bit as the time that I've been with you guys in the past 8 to 10 months. That I've changed names and email counts and all kinds of things. So I'm getting pretty scrutinous.
As long as I can get free cookies, no problem. No, but
yeah,
I got my own Italian cookies. I don't need their cookies.
I'll send you a cookie toss. Just give me your name, your address, your phone number, your social security number, and then 3 references and your mother's maiden name.
Yeah, sure, no problem, pal. Yeah.
Send them a zombie cookie.
There you go. I'll need to make some zombie cookies. Should I make zombie cookies, guys? Should I do zombie cookies?
Yes.
No.
Yeah, I'm the same as Dan. Since I started following SwitchedtoLinux, I've opted out of so many more things that I've opted in on. I can't remember the last thing I opted in on. I've opted out on so many other things.
I already was pretty privacy-centric. I think the first major step I did was about 2 years ago when I switched from Google to DuckDuckGo. I've been using DuckDuckGo ever since. And then you told me, and then I've read all sorts of stuff, and then you told me about... And then when I found you told me about everything. And everything from like lineage and all that. Like I knew what lineage was, but if I did it, I would have probably put Google services on it because I didn't know much about that.
Yeah, that's one of the things that they walk you through in the steps, right? I'll also, while we're talking about this kind of stuff, if you check out Techlore's course, which is called Go Incognito. I'll actually put his link to his main website right there in the chat. You can check out his website there, and he's actually walking through from the very beginnings a whole lot of just fine detail little privacy things. So, Rick, anything else to add on this part?
Well, backtracking to the
Credit score?
yeah, the credit score. I'm in Canada, and I have no idea what a credit score is. I have a line of credit, a credit card.
Yeah. So in
I've
America,
never had an issue with a credit score. So
yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure if you have the credit scores there, but in America, there's 3 major companies, and they publish a score. And what's unfortunately happens is that banks now, instead of thinking about and evaluating a customer, they simply pull this credit score and look at the number and yay, nay, based on a number, which doesn't make any sense. But that's kind of one of those things.
You just barely make the yay, you may have to pay a higher interest rate in opposed to having your score even higher.
And if you get turned down, you can always go to a loan shark and pay even more and be buried under it for life.
Yeah.
So I want to talk a moment about this church community builder, because this has been a big program that's been going around a lot of different churches, and I actually just had to send them an email not long ago because, of course, as you guys know, I read terms of service, and Church Community Builder is what a lot of your churches here in America are using to keep your records. And literally what they're doing is, it is a cloud-based address list. And if you actually, the question is a person opting into this or not? Well, apparently, in theory, yes. If you go down to the terms of use, and I will take you specifically down to section 12.2, user conduct, customer agrees to abide by all applicable local, state, national, and foreign laws. Now, who's the customer? The customer is the church. The church wants to produce an online database of all of their, anybody who is, walked down the sidewalk by the church, apparently. And what they say here in regarding connections to use, without limiting, foregoing, customer agrees not to use service or information from the service of any of the following. Communication violating the law, harvesting, collecting, gathering, or assembling of data regarding other users, including email addresses, without their consent. And that's kind of the important one, because I found that 2 different churches in this town added me to their list. Now, one of them, I was attending their church, although not a member. I was attending their church for a period of time, but I never consented to add my name to some cloud-based email and community system. But another church that I had attended a long time ago and was a member of a long time ago and quit going, they end up going into this and then adding my name to this database. And it's just like, and by the time I was getting emails from multiple different churches, I finally sent an email to these guys, Church Community Builder, and I said, hey, I am receiving emails from multiple different churches, and I have never consented. And I pointed to this. I said, you make sure every one of your customers is aware that they have agreed to this terms about including people's addresses without their consent. And so, to their credit, they actually dealt with it very quickly. And in dealing with it very quickly, I know one church called me up and said, oh, we're sorry. And actually, it was funny because it was the secretary, it's a friend of mine at the church, and she calls up and says, oh, I'm sorry, we took that out. I didn't realize you didn't like that. And I said, well, we just kept the name in there to keep attendance. Like, no, you can't keep anything in there. No, you can't use this thing to keep attendance or whatever else. It drives me crazy. But to their credit, Church Community Builder, I don't know if they blacklisted it, but they certainly did something about it, because at least one of the churches reached out and said they're going to stop, with that stuff. And this is, for me, a horror story on the one hand, but at least they responded to my email. But it was a frank email. It wasn't a rude email, but it was a very frank email to say, you guys gotta do a better job making sure your customers are actually following the terms that they agree to, especially being a church organization. you know. So I don't know. You guys have any random thoughts on? Well, before we do that, Joe, I want to acknowledge that $20 super chat. Thank you very much for that, Joe. We always appreciate that.
Well, so I usually donate to this Church of St. Mattress on Sunday, so I don't have a problem. But no, yeah.
So
I've never had a problem with that at any church, to be quite honest. But at least they were up front about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I think you go to Catholic churches, so right. This is something you find more in your Protestant and typically in your church growth churches.
Okay.
So it's not something you probably would have seen, in all honesty.
I just checked to see what software the church I go to was running. It was called it's still a cloud-based thing. It's called ACS Church Management Software.
Okay.
I don't know if you've heard of that.
I've not. No. Generally, I only hear of them as they email me without my consent.
ACS.
Hey Tom, I gotta bail. I gotta build supper. I'll see you a little later. Maybe, hopefully at 9 on your other channel. You're gonna send the link there.
Yep. Yeah. I'll go ahead and drop the link in the chat here for that one. Give me a second.
Okay, I'll come back.
Okay. Yeah, I'll drop the link in there so you'll be able to find it.
Okay. See you later.
All right. We'll see you. Thanks for jumping on.
Bye.
Thanks for visiting.
All right. Anyone else? Thoughts on that?
I think that's a little atrocious. I think if a church is going to have something like that, it shouldn't be cloud-based, and they shouldn't do much of it at all.
Mm-hmm. My biggest argument about that is, for the church, it's like they want to focus on building community. Church community builder. How much community are you building if you have to list everybody in a database? You don't know me that you can call me, or
is this a church or a chain of them?
A church. At least two separate churches.
See, maybe I'm old-fashioned, but I prefer the face-to-face. Hi, nice to meet you. This is why I kind of prefer what the JWs do, Jehovah's Witnesses. They'll come to your house. They don't ask for money. They'll usually present you like a booklet, the Watchtower. Hey, we just wanted to invite you. And I've been to they call it a Kingdom Hall. It's very nice. I prefer face-to-face because at least I know who or what I'm dealing with. Now, I can still respectfully say no or yes. But I prefer face-to-face because then there's none to hide. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Well, churches do a lot of community service type things and stuff like that, and I'm okay if they have like some kind of database that's really secure that just has name, phone number, and address, you can stay involved with the church. And even an old school paper type thing.
And I'm perfectly okay as long as it's not a cloud-based. Because these guys are like, if you dig through their website, they're like, for all you guys wanting all the geeky stuff, we're on Amazon S3 buckets. Like, yeah, that does not make me feel confident.
Yeah, the whole cloud-based idea is horrible. I mean, we need to just come down and take that as a reality. This cloud storage, your data's out in some server and who knows where, it's got to come to an end, and people got to stop using this stuff because it's not secure.
Well, the only cloud-ready services that I think are secure, these new marijuana dispensary places. That's about it. They're legal, So
Toss, I don't know if you're following the comments, but you're here talking face-to-face, and Joe says, face-to-face, Carm, your camera's off.
Well, no, I don't have my camera hooked up. I'm doing my exercise and stretch.
Yeah.
Here in Michigan, you can now have 12 plants of your own.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
And when that law went into effect, you wouldn't believe how many people called into work sick.
Why do they call it a work sick? I mean, just pick up your seeds on the way, whatever. I don't know.
No, the law came into effect. They already had their stash, so they started really using it.
Yeah.
Woohoo, it's legal now.
Now, you can't sell it, but you can gift it to somebody.
You can gift it to somebody in exchange for a meager donation.
All these states that legalize it all have become instantly mellower. Hey, man, somebody wrecked your car. Oh, no problem. It's okay.
The insurance company will take care of it. No worries.
Pizza says they should have written church community builders TOS in Latin. Epic. Hey, everyone would read it just about as much, you know.
So I'm looking at the software for my church, and apparently the website is terrible, and the pictures are the screenshots on like the website where they.
All right, what's the name of the site again?
It's called ACStechnologies.com is the software. ACS. And they have church management software and church accounting software.
Yeah.
And the screenshots are all from like Windows 2000.
Oh, man. A lot of companies are like that. Some of them are like running really old. Some of them are still on Windows XP.
Yeah.
Hey, Windows XP is newer than 2000.
Yeah.
By about a year, yeah.
Where'd you see the screenshots?
Click on the church management thing and then scroll down.
So what are the links? Are the links like the Book of Ezekiel link, the Book of Job, or, you know?
Did you find it?
No. Then the website version, like I'm on one that doesn't look that bad of a website. I am at ACS Technologies.
I'm saying my church's website is terrible.
Oh, your church's website is, yeah.
Yeah.
This is the screen. Here, I'll show you right here. This picture. Here, this is. Are you on a website like this?
Hold on. I gotta find it. All right, where you at? ACStechnologies.com. Okay, so products. Yeah, that's the site I'm on.
This is the picture right here.
Oh my. I mean, it just looks like it's something written in old Java.
I don't have problems with
either Java or Visual Basic.
Here, there's an impact story video. And here are all of the...
Oh, well. Hey, as long as they're... I just wanted to bring that up, not to bash on the whole idea, just to say, hey, they kind of irritated me, but they had a little integrity and went back and, you know, did that.
People need to stop and wake up and send the cloud-based people a thunderstorm.
Yeah, this is cloud-based.
Well, you can't judge a book by its cover, so yeah.
That's just the skin, and you know, you don't have to change the skin to make it look all modern and stuff all the time. That costs money, and then, you know, everybody's trying to get away with as little as possible in spending.
It said somewhere how much it costs.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to the horror stories section. So, who's got a horror story?
I've got one.
Share? Ben's got one. I know Dan's got a fun one where Quint's going. So, Ben, go ahead with your horror story.
Sure. I was vacationing with some family, and one of them was telling a story about how they went to a Knight Rider convention.
Cool.
And when I got home a week later, YouTube wanted to show me Jay Leno's garage because he got to look at one of the kit cars.
Huh.
From that show.
So how did... Yeah.
Was your phone in your pocket?
Mine was, and so were theirs. So I'm thinking it was one of their Android phones that they had just gave permission to everything for.
So either... Now, there's a couple things that could have caused that. Did you know... this was an interesting phenomenon, is that people ended up finding friend request locations for people that they shared a psychiatrist with. You guys ever see this one? Because what Facebook was doing is collecting all of this data and says, oh, well, this person spent an hour in this time, and this person spent an hour in this time. They might have something in common. And so the algorithm would make them friend suggestions based on the fact that they were both in the psychologist's office, you know, different times, but the same place for about the same length of time. So it could have been something like that, or it could have been hearing you. I don't know, but that's... I
mean, it's also possible that that was complete coincidence, but I mean, I might have been primed to see that video and thought it was creepy because I would find that creepy, but
yeah. Dan, I think you got a good one.
Okay, some of you have probably already heard this, but I guess I'll tell it again. Now, what happened was, let me put a demonstration up here. I get the type thing to work so people can understand. Here we go.
I'm looking at the chat. Ice cream sounds really good right now.
I just posted on the live chat, hello, by my name. And by my name is a little round blue dot with my symbol in it, my icon. Okay, I had done some text messaging with my cousin through the normal text messaging on the phone, not the email. Well, he comes over here on a Sunday, and I asked him, did you get my text message? And he goes, yes, I did. See, it's right here. And I'm looking at the phone, and that little blue dot is in the text message of a Samsung phone. My blood went from room temperature to smoking hot instantly. You know, because somehow that little symbol got all the way to not part of the internet of the phone, but the text messaging of the phone. And that freaked me out. It really did. And I'm still kind of...
And it makes you wonder, like, we talk about these shadow profiles with Facebook. It's like... even if though I don't have a Facebook account and I block Facebook on all my things, if Joe has my phone number in his phone and shares his phone number contact list with Facebook, at what point in time do we say no? You have to have 100% full written opt-in to collect anything. That's what we need.
It just blows my mind that you know, something from YouTube gets on somebody's phone through a text message without me even knowing anything about it.
And that's because, as Joe says here, it's because you guys are each other's contacts within a Gmail account itself.
I suppose that's the power of the web. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not. That was true once before, but it hasn't been since you helped me set up my email account, Tom.
Yep.
And Google's just going to no end to swap people's stuff around.
Yeah, and just
take
make
advantage of it.
In fact, I wish Rick was still here because Henry at TechLore has a guide of things to do with things, you know. So, like, one of the things, like, my phone number addresses have never been in a cloud with Google. They have never been in a cloud with Apple. At one point in time, before I used Verizon system before it was the cloud structure they had now, but ever since then I'm like, I don't want anything to do with that. They switched that over, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago. I'm like, I don't want anything to do with that.
Well, just remember the cloud is only good for one thing: rain.
Yeah, that's correct.
Thunderstorms.
Yes.
The issue is that I have my contacts in Google because you can't. It has to be in Google on my phone.
That doesn't.
I believe it does. You have to sync it with a Google account. It's the Google Contacts app.
No, you can sync that to a variety of other things. So, like, if you built a Nextcloud instance, you could sync it to your Nextcloud instance.
No, that's not. But mine is this is the app that I have. It only lets you sync it with Google. I've tried other stuff.
Delete it and grab another app.
I don't
have. I can't because it's built into the phone.
Well, you can disable it.
I don't have this
garbage. Hold on. What's the phone you have there, Quint?
The Google Pixel 2, running the stock firmware. This is the phone this is the app that's on there.
Okay.
You should be able to sync that to something else, but no, maybe
not.
Let me. If not, you can absolutely download the open source app. There is an open source contact app.
Yeah, I know that.
Which is an official Google app.
Yeah, I can only do Google stuff. So.
Yeah, I'd get rid of that and go with the stock Android one, which isn't that phone stock, but the stock open source Android version, which will
jailbreak it and go to F-Droid.
What's that? I have F-Droid installed.
Jailbreak it and go to F-Droid.
Yeah. Well, you don't have to jailbreak to go to F-Droid then. Quint, go ahead with your horror story.
Mine wasn't a horror story.
It was getting interesting anyway.
It was so. So my mom bought her website domain. She's bought a website domain. It's hername.com. probably about 7 years ago now. And so there's another person who has the same name as my mom, who is a costume designer in California. And so she has the domain, the name design.com, if that makes sense.
Yep.
And so she's never contacted us to buy it, which I think is interesting. Well, I guess there was GoDaddy, but it was GoDaddy privacy was on there.
Mm-hmm. Toss, do you have any horror stories for data you want to share?
I'm trying to think. I haven't come across anything that made me go, oh, where did that come from? Or I didn't give. No, I can't really say. I mean, we talked about getting stuff in the mail like catalogs. I get catalogs from like Crutchfield, but I bought stuff off of that before, so I don't mind. You know what I mean?
Oh, here's relating to that. I just thought of something.
Yeah.
So it was my granddad. He bought something for us as a gift and shipped it to our house. And so now we have all these catalogs that come to our house that have my granddad's name on them.
Yeah.
And it seemed to happen when we moved. It was to our old house, and so when we moved, the change address thing got it too. And so now it's even shipped to our current house, which we've lived in for 2 years.
Wow.
If you call them, they will take you off that list. I mean, that shouldn't be a problem.
And the other weird thing is this house used to be a duplex before it was built. Like there was a duplex here. Somebody tore it down and built up this house. And so we still get stuff that's like our address and apartment B.
That's
that same
even
junk from my mailbox.
When we ordered Comcast, they asked us apartment A or B, and so we have to tell them it's a house. It's a house.
Just tell them no, it's apartment C.
Yeah, really.
And this house has been here for like 12 years too. This house was built 12 years ago, I believe.
But just tell them install apartment A, build to apartment B. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Vince, you have horror stories you want to share?
I don't have too many. I remember because I jumped onto Facebook pretty early in its lifespan. And I used to remember how when they used to send you friend requests, I used to be so impressed at how they did that. I was like, yeah, bring on more and more. But then when I realized how they were actually doing it, it was actually quite scary. And the other thing that I still get quite annoyed about is when your friends, they don't secure their email accounts that well, and they get hacked and you start getting spam.
Oh yeah, I get a lot of those.
Oh yeah.
That's happened before.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about this is a fun one. I want to say this was a chamber of commerce I was in out west. They didn't know that BCC was a thing. And so literally they would send out all their emails by literally putting everybody's email in the main to block. This thing like this big of just emails.
Oh, man.
And you could go through there and parse everyone's email out. You're like, oh, yeah, hey, look at this. This is cool,
The thing is, in the early days of the internet, when there weren't that many people on, that would have been okay. But now that everybody's on,
yes,
you have access to everyone's. I mean, through the email, they can actually, go and assume or steal their identity through just simply having the email address.
Yeah,
I still remember the days of you got mail. You got mail. Yeah.
Now it just goes bing, unless you're on deep end, then it goes ding ding.
Oh, that's annoying.
And Mailspring makes a noise too. So I have Mailspring on. I use Mailspring on my Mac, and I use Gary on here.
Mm-hmm. No, the problem with Deepin is they don't have their notification systems don't work, and so if you have anything that plays its own notification, like Thunderbird has its own notification, Evolution has its own notification, it'll play the notification twice.
It's like
oh jeez.
Yeah, even notification sound is so annoying.
Yeah. It's pretty cool the first couple times you hear it. Then it's just like gets crazy, like and then it'll double up. It's like, oh Lord. And then of course, like if I still had Deepin on with when I was those WordPress hackers who were trying to get into there, man. Oh man, that would just drive me crazy. Now though, the Thunderbird on this is just a light bleep, so I don't.
Mailspring is like do. It's like a nice little light tone.
I'm a solid Thunderbird user.
Sound like a notification of Schwarzenegger's voice. You got mailed, bro.
You can do that. You can do that if you want. This is Linux.
I know. Yeah, I was mailed. Yeah.
This is one of the reasons I like GNOME, is because there's no notification sound.
Yeah, you can.
Well, I think there is a little tiny like pop noise, but that's it.
Yeah, I think that's probably about the case. All right. Do we have anything else we want to mention as far as when to or not to give up your data?
I would be really cautious on giving up any more than your name and address, and I would be hesitant to hand out a phone number. I can tell you from firsthand experience, I've probably given my phone number out a little more than I'd want to, and now I have robocallers on 2 phones. I carry 2 phones with me.
I would say, as a general rule, silence is golden. Yeah.
4 phone calls on 2 phones. That's 8 robocalls a day.
I actually had the phone number that I had for a number of years was getting up to 12 a day. And so I didn't want to completely get rid of the number. So this is where giving up some of the data is a useful thing, because you can actually port your phone number to Google and have it on Google Voice system. And so what I do with that is because I didn't want to get rid of the number because I've had it for so long. So I ported it over to Google Voice, and I didn't bother pushing it anywhere. So now you either leave me a message or you can send me a text message. But now if anyone really legitimately needs a phone number for whatever reason, but I really don't want them having my personal one, that's the number they get. And actually I have 3 Google numbers, 2 of them attached to different businesses. So I have a lot of phone numbers I can give out if I need to.
I have a Google Voice number too, and I use it for when I don't. Same sort of thing as your thing is where I just give it if I like for a like if there's a website that asks for a phone number, I put the Google Voice number in. I think maybe once I put my real phone number in.
I got a Gmail. I got a notification from Google saying mine expired because I hadn't used it in so long.
Yeah, I get on there every 6 months and make a phone call.
Is that what it is? Okay. Well, I forgot. I mean, it's no big deal, but yeah.
I've done in cases now where somebody will want my phone number to complete a field or something, and I know they really don't need it because they can get a hold of me by email.
Yep.
I give them the phone number to the time. At the tone, the time will be 7 p.m. Beep.
Well, that sucks. They call you up. Hey, we want to. Oh. All right.
Well, if they get that, they know they can use my email that I supplied with.
Yep.
The information as
and
well.
Then we also have a home phone that we don't use, and that's sort of what my parents use most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually still a good system.
Which, the home phones?
Yes, and you can actually get an answering machine to cover that.
The main reason we have it is so my brother, since he doesn't have a phone, he can just pick up the phone and call my mom. That's the main reason. Because he stays at home by himself sometimes. He doesn't have a phone. He needs to be able to get in touch. That's the only reason we have it.
Well, if you have a phone line with a home phone in your house, you also can run a fax machine. And that
I think all of our printers have fax machines in them, but we've never hooked up the fax machine because we don't use it.
Oh, it's really cool if somebody wants a fax really fast. Especially if you have to sign a document and get it somewhere right away. And I've had to do that.
The other thing, speaking of signing documents, when I was setting up my bank account, everything is on DocuSign on an iPad. It was at Bank of America. Everything was on DocuSign. It was on an iPad.
Yeah, that's a scary bank. Mine still got signature cards at my bank. You know?
See, I just thought of something. I should try and set up my home phone answering machine with 2 separate greetings. So, for example, if it's from phone numbers from family that call, my greeting would be, "Hi, this is Carmine. Please leave a message. Thank you." If it's any other number, I should do the short. "Do not call me anymore. I will break you and terminate you." You
You gotta do the Italian Guido accent. This is Guido.
I
You
could
call
do
it
that
again.
too.
We
Yeah, I
kneecap
could.
Boss, what you could do is you could probably set up a PBX, and you could do hold music with a PBX also.
Oh wow! Yeah, I'll play the Godfather music.
I don't know, you probably remember that when I was setting up that. It's Isabel PBX.
Yeah, I
That's the
remember
one
that
that's good.
show. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, just look that up.
Just get the greatest hits of the elevator tunes.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, and you can upload hold music into there. There's so much stuff, I could not figure it out, so I just gave up on it.
You need to do a hold music that after 5 minutes it gets something screams really bad.
I know.
If you are looking for a pair of cement boots, you have reached the correct number.
Yeah.
Call again, we'll hook you up with some cement galoshes. You hear?
Why do you call me a tribute so disrespectfully? Yeah, right.
That's right. All right,
Anyway.
let's go ahead and have a look at a few comments here, and then we'll get this wrapped up before too long. Of course, I have no idea where I would have left out because since I was commenting in there again. So I'll scan through these. If anybody sees anything you want to point out, then go for it. Hello, Jack. How's it going there? Venkman? Peter Venkman? Or is that Venkman? Is that? Greetings, Jan. How are you? It's going well over here. All right.
I kind of wish I was in Vegas for that last Consumer Electronics show.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I got
Yeah.
Tom and big screen HD now.
Well, did anyone see that that billboard that Apple put up to troll everyone there about privacy?
I missed that
People
one.
see that?
No.
They put up a billboard right outside of the CES
Oh.
about how Apple products are private, more private than everybody else's.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there was a big research article on that.
But is it
Apple-
true?
Well, it was a very well done research article, actually. And yeah,
Okay.
that's actually true. If
Apple
you are,
security.
Yeah, if
Apple
you're not
security
gonna-
is pretty big.
and
Go ahead, Tom.
privacy is specifically. What the article looked at is it measured the amount of recalls back and what was being collected and sent. And it turns out that like Google phones, it was in excess of a few thousand times per day was tracking data and sending it back to Google. Apple, a couple times, really, and it's really dependent on the apps. But Google was just kind of data hungry. Putting it in airplane mode doesn't help. It just does everything and just keeps it there. And then once airplane mode's toggled off, it just does a big data dump. So, and that was actually based on some research articles that came out just a couple weeks ago, actually.
Apple's on an opposite platform from Google. Google wants your data. Apple wants your money.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Jan Beckman says, which one, Mint or Manjaro? I would do Mint first. If that fails, then try Manjaro. Of course, Keegan says, fork them both, combine them, and put the best features into one. Call it Mint Jaro. Good one, Keegan. Okay. STS Tech is confused about my ThinkLifeMedia website. STS, I would really love to hear what the confusing part, because I want to make it less confusing.
Are you porting it to Joomla?
I don't know yet. I have no idea. Banking is one password. I'll save anywhere that's insured. Crypto accounts follow password methods I can remember without being 100% identical. Heavily considering to code your own password system. That would be cool. Let's see. Got a heated discussion point about using biometrics for authentication. My point was that I need to be conscious to give up a passphrase. You can say this. Can you say the same about your biometrics? And that is a very good point. Biometrics is inherently dangerous. It's inherently dangerous for a couple reasons. Number one is, yeah, if it's a fingerprint scan, they can knock you out and take your fingerprints all they want. Completely passive. The other factor is if it gets hacked, you ain't changing your fingerprints.
Yeah, I am. I'm sticking my thumb or finger in a grinder.
Yeah, yeah.
A disc sander.
Oh, I'm sure I could pick up a tip on Mission Impossible movies about that, you know. But
Yeah.
dun, 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 dun.
I actually have some fingers that really don't have any prints on them because of the kind of work I do.
Yeah, there you go.
This fingerprint thing doesn't bother me that much. I know it bothers you.
Yeah.
I still use it to secure my phone mainly because it's easy.
Okay, Jesse says, I've relied on every credit app. I could probably pull 500,007K on credit if I had a plane ticket to a country with no extradition policy. Yeah, welcome back aboard, says TS Tech. Okay.
Reading the comments with you is kind of not easy to do because the chat's like got a 4 or 5 second delay.
Yeah, I know. But if you guys want to read any that pop in, we can meet somewhere in the middle. Pizza's interested in investing in the stock market. Any of you guys in stock market investors?
Tried it.
My dad is.
Okay. So nobody has good advice for pizza at this point in time? All right.
I know my dad is. He does all sorts of stuff with that.
That's cool.
Anything with the word marijuana, that's what you should invest in, yeah.
That turns the quick buck.
Foldable phones. I hear they're the next best thing.
Yeah, there you go. Couldn't operate an online business without a credit card. All right. Open an HD account to buy a new water heater after paid off. Didn't buy anything for 6 months. They canceled the card. Aw, what a problem.
You know Canada has plastic money?
Really?
It's literally made out of plastic instead of paper.
Yeah, we do too.
You do too?
Yeah. Let me see if I can find something.
Like,
yeah. So you can literally wash it.
Bills or?
I was going to say it's easy to laundry. Ha.
So that's a. Can everyone see that's a $10 bill?
Yeah.
Wow, that looks like some kind of plastic foil.
That's a window.
It's a window, yeah.
Huh.
Wow.
Yeah.
So is it like a laminate?
In it.
It's fully plastic. Really, I think it's something that's it's attached to it. But yeah, that's
that looks pretty cool, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
$10.
Yeah, so you can launder your money pretty well.
Yeah, my cousin went over to Canada to do a job over there because he works on factory machinery, the stuff that actually makes parts. And he come back and he had a 5 and a 10, and he's showing it to me. It's all plastic, and it had a clear spot. And in the clear spot, there was a hologram in it. If you changed it in the light, it all changed funny, so it made it nearly impossible to counterfeit.
Paul says send Toss free cannolis.
Free cannolis.
Yeah, baby. Yeah. Love cannolis.
How's the weight loss going there, Toss? Are you fitting in your pants again?
It's a little better. I mean, I've this January I stayed away from cheesecake and no cannolis. So
no cheesecake and no cannolis? Dude, you're supposed to just cut it back a little bit. Just cut it back.
No, I have to 0.
I'm gonna eat me some ice cream, just not as much as I like to, you know.
Yeah, and no ice cream this month either so far. So yeah.
Yeah.
Mike W says Toss has a friend that can load you some cash. His name's Guido.
Yeah.
So apparently Canada does have the credit scores. TransUnion and Equifax. Oh boy,
they're up there too.
Apparently.
Oh man. Pretty soon we're gonna just have a global score.
Pretty much.
Go over to Japan. Yes, I'd like to borrow 200 yen.
Yeah. We would gossip nonstop. They didn't get a word of the 2000 was like the last good version of Windows, if there was such a thing. What a mess. Can't take it. What's a mess? All right.
I always thought 2000 was a pretty cleaned up version of Windows 98.
I enjoyed Windows 7. I mean, it was pretty solid
the
for
best.
me. Yeah,
I really love my first computer. The first computer that I begged my parents for so long to have a computer, and it was in the Windows 7 era, and so Windows 7 is probably one of my favorite operating systems still from that.
Well, I remember when Vista came out, and I just wanted to shoot the thing.
Yeah.
To Linux.
Yeah.
It was just a matter, like, it wasn't that Vista was bad. It was that Vista was ahead of its time. The hardware hadn't yet caught up with what Vista needed.
Right. Yeah.
So it was either second or third computer running Vista was beautifully perfect because it had system requirements. You know, it had a good processor in it and RAM. Anyone else using a container extension on Firefox? I'm not. Anybody else?
Nope.
No.
I don't really use extensions.
I use WaterFox and hang out with Vivaldi.
I kind of have a lot of extensions, but they all serve a purpose. I have one as my ad blocker, which I also have a host file list in my host file too. So I have double protection, mainly because those things that say like Firefox can't connect, those drive me insane. So I just like the ad blocker because it actually cleans all that up. And then I have a cookie deleter. And I have a thing that redirects all websites that have HTTPS to HTTPS.
Nothing wrong with that.
WaterFox ships with Ad Blocker Ultimate and Pop-Up Blocker Ultimate as pre-installed when you get it.
Which does?
WaterFox.
Okay, yeah.
So are them blockers pretty safe that come with it?
Let me see if they're actually installed on mine.
It'd be an extension.
This is strange. My uBlock origin is showing over 2.
Sounds like Vincent.
I actually don't have anything installed on my WaterFox.
Yeah, uBlock organ does some weird stuff on Google Hangouts. I disabled it.
Now, the good thing about either Ad Blocker Ultimate or Pop-Up Blocker Ultimate, it blocks Facebook real good.
That's weird.
Ooh, I'm getting to the bottom of the comments.
So, Tom, when you're configuring a host file for a router, is it just the same etc hosts, or is it a separate file?
It kind of depends. Yeah, if you do the etc hosts, that would if your operating system's doing that. But like a router system like pfSense that I run, it has a separate system that you can block outside of that. So you could do either one.
I don't know, the Ubiquiti routers, which we're planning on switching to Google Fiber, and we're going to get some Ubiquiti routers instead. They have SSH access. I think it's Linux based. They don't have a built-in host file thing, so I don't know how I would get that working.
They probably have a block list. You can probably put a few sites in there, but probably not a lot. If you want to get something like that working, look at Pi-hole or NoTrack.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking about Pi-hole.
Of course, NoTrack, I think, is written by QuidSub, which would be cool if you want to reach out to him as well.
I think I like the UI better in Pi-hole. I've seen both. And you know how I'm all about those material design UIs?
Oh, yeah.
Pi-hole is more material design.
What a name, Pi-hole. Jeez.
Yeah, well, it's supposed to be for your internet. It shuts its Pi-hole.
Yeah, okay, got it.
I mean, I want to send one to the SEC so that we can shut his Pi-hole.
Have you actually used Pi-hole Quint or anyone?
No, I
Thinking
have
about-
not, but I've seen pictures of it, and I've seen pictures of no track.
Yeah. I
So I know how
really
it
want to
works.
get it hooked up and teach people how to do that. I think that should be something I do soon.
I just don't really want to run pfSense because I've looked at all the Ubiquity products and they have such a good infrastructure. Like they have, everything would work out of one interface if we deploy the router, and then we have access points, and then we just have everything all hooked up, and it just works flawlessly all together. That's the main reason I don't want to go with something like pfSense because it's going to throw everything off.
Mm-hmm. Toss, what do you think about this? Pizza doesn't like cheesecake or cannolis.
What?
I don't either.
What?
You don't.
What?
I
See,
My brother
Pizza only likes pizza.
but he
Man.
does like pizza and ice cream.
My brother
no
likes
cheesecake or
cheesecake.
cannolis? My goodness.
You've got to ban him, Toss.
Could be
I
a
love
Seattle
both.
thing.
He's been eating on too much of Chips Ahoy or something, man. I don't know.
He's getting something else from Seattle.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
My brother doesn't like cheesecake, and I try to get him to try it.
Oh.
He just won't try it. I love cheesecake.
That
It's
is my
really
You
joy.
gotta
nice.
tell him
Those are
that
the
it
best
doesn't
things.
taste like cheese. Tell him it just doesn't taste like cheese.
That's why
Cheesecake is-
That's why I think people don't like it, because they think it tastes like cheese.
Yeah.
I kind of cheesecake. I kind of really ain't a fan of it. It tastes really rich.
It
That's
is.
why
Rich
I like
taste to it.
Hey,
That's what
hold
I
on, we
told
got a good tech question here. So Ron asked, what is the host file that Switch and Quint refer to? So the host file on any operating system is the master file that will route internet IP addresses. It's basically a local overwrite for the DNS. So DNS is what converts a domain URL to the IP address required for the server. So when you're bouncing back and forth on a server, everything actually goes with numbers. But we use the domain names, which point to a server. So with the host file, every computer has a host file and they cascade. So the closer you are to the main system, the more overwrite, like the higher precedent it takes. So on this computer here, I can block a variety of things, or I can change domain names to different servers if I want to. And what you can use, so I use the host file to block all advertising networks and things like that. And so on my router has a host file that blocks everything on the whole network, but then I have individual computers which will block even higher than that. So on a Linux and a Mac, it is in etc hosts. On Windows, it is in Windows System 32 drivers etc hosts. So
So it's the same thing. They just copy that.
Yeah, so literally it's a file that controls the local network, the network routing down to that individual computer. So that's what that is.
I think one of the funny things is that Apple changed almost every configuration file in macOS and moved it somewhere into system library except the host file. That's the only one they kept.
Yeah. Maybe
FS
it's because the developers need to use the host file.
FSTab or FSTAB is what I like to call it. That's like the volume configuration. That's somewhere in system library. They moved all. I think Apple does some weird stuff. How they put the root user under var, which makes no sense.
Yeah. Benjamin said you got a new Crapcast modem in today, brought it home, found out you had to go to a website to activate it. This is kind of like, you guys realize that when Comcast internet goes down and you want to check the status of the service, you have to do it from the internet?
It's kind of an oxymoron. The internet's down, so you can check it through with the internet.
Yeah.
The Google Fiber routers are like that too, and so that's why we're putting our own one in.
I think Joe might ban pizza here for not liking cannolis and cheesecake. So, oh boy.
Mod wars.
Getting in the mood for cheesecake, not something I'd eat often. Yeah, you hate graham cracker crumb STS? Oh man.
What?
Oh, Stab me in the heart. Graham cracker crust is like amazing. SwitchLinks next explanation. No idea. Yep. Hey, no problem, man. Woohoo! We hit the bottom of the comments. We hit the bottom of the comments.
You skipped
Oh, I
Pizza's
skipped
Alexa.
Pizza's Alexa story. I'm sorry, Pizza. I didn't see it.
Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah, I'll stay at the bottom here. See if you can find it there. Hello, Frost Ranger. Joe can't ban you since you're a mod.
Here, I'll
So
just
much
I'll
tension in
post
this
it
chat.
down in the comments.
All right. Oh, hey, Kitty just showed up. Just in time, Kitty. I was going to call you because we're wrapping up the stream soon. Come on. Yeah.
Joe, do you really want to find out?
Here it is, right here. I just posted it at the bottom.
Okay, Alexa story. I have Alexa horror story. Oh, I remember this one. Yeah, he was talking about the Silk Road, which is that, underground site, and the Alexa light lit up. It hasn't been plugged in since. Yeah, that's kind of creepy. That is creepy indeed. All right.
Wow.
So.
Yeah, that'd make me flush the Alexa down the toilet.
Yep. All right, we're gonna go ahead and feed the kitty. We'll do our final call, and then we'll go to
Alexa meet smart toilet.
Yeah.
I like my Alexa. It works the way it should, for the most part.
As long as it ain't
Talk
snitching
about-
on you.
Talk about the Silk Road in front of it. See if the lights turn on.
We have a Google Home that was a gift, and all we use it is to ask it the weather, and I never ask it anything. It's always everybody else in the house.
Yeah.
I should tell Alexa, terminate yourself now. No.
That's right. Alexa, self-terminate.
It's fine if you enjoy it. Just be careful with it.
Yeah, I usually unplug it during the day. I mean, I'll set it up at night, the alarm, fall asleep to music, catch up on the news, weather, podcasts. That's pretty much, yeah.
If it wakes you up with a hideous laugh going, you're going to die.
I can say the same thing about Siri on my phone spying on me too.
Yeah.
Google Assistant on the Google Home we have, and on my phone.
Yeah. All right. So give us final words, everybody. Final words.
I'm just chilling like a villain on penicillin. No,
all right.
But
I haven't heard that one before.
Yeah, a long time ago, one of my friends said it. I don't know where it came from, where he got it from, but
yeah. Vince, final words for you?
Well, my data's already out there, so game over for me.
Got to work on reeling it back in.
Reclaiming it. I have to get on the TechLaw's channel.
Yeah. Check out TechLaw's channel, and particularly it's the course, the Go Incognito course. It is fabulous. Still in the middle of producing it. So, Quint, final words.
Just get your data off of as many platforms as soon as possible. I'm not as strict as Tom, like not going to the doctor because you don't want them to put in the computer. Like that doesn't bother me.
I would if it were serious, but
just try to get it off.
Yeah.
And install content blockers like uBlock Organ and set up your host file.
Yep. Very good. Dan, final thoughts?
Final thoughts are treat your data like you treat the money in your wallet. Don't hand it out just for no reason at all. Make sure when you do hand it out, it's going to somewhat of a secure system of some sorts. I've taken steps to start moving all my mail off of Google, and I'm almost to the point where I'm there. I'm on a private email server with my own email domain. If I want to create an email address, I just go to the server and type in the junk, and voila, I can create as many emails with my domain name on them as I want.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
huge.
That's a wonderful feeling.
Yeah.
And if you want to add a family member, you can create a email account for them and give them a password and stuff for it. But like I said, keep your data very close, almost as close as you keep your money in your wallet.
Well, like the Godfather said, keep your friends close and your data closer.
Yeah.
Right. That's right. Ben, final words.
Yeah, I think everybody should share as little as possible with as few as possible. And if you're going to share data, make sure you get more than a sugar cookie for it.
Yeah. Definitely more than a sugar cookie. All right. I will be on my Our Walk in Christ live stream in about 30 minutes. I just dropped the link to the chat in there. We will be talking about the Second Coming comic book from DC featuring Jesus as the superhero. It's going to be an interesting one, folks. It's going to be an interesting one. But yes, and me and the Fuzzy Snake say thanks for coming along. I appreciate you guys hanging out, and join us next week for another supporter stream. Topic to be determined probably that afternoon. So thanks for coming around, and we will catch you guys later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Right.